Are you feeling exhausted all the time? And are you feeling exhausted even on your best days and wondering why this exhaustion does not leave you? This is Dr. Lenny DaCosta, geriatric physician and a functional medicine expert, and the author of the upcoming book, Is Your Doctor Keeping You Sick? Yes, my dear friends, this is one of the commonest symptoms with which many of my patients come to me: fatigue, exhaustion. They say, I don't feel like doing anything, I'm feeling exhausted all the time. And today, I'm going to talk about a few conditions that you can actually go and get yourself checked the moment you feel exhausted, and get your doctor to help you rectify those imbalances in your body. So to start with, one of the first reasons, or one of the reasons why you get or feel exhausted all the time, is when you start suffering from anemia. So anemia is one of the major causes for exhaustion. So if you go to your doctor and tell him that you have or are feeling exhausted all the time and get your blood test done, a plain old CBC can be done just to check for anemia. Just check your hemoglobin levels. You will know if you have low hemoglobin and are suffering from anemia. So that's the number one cause. Number two, other vitamin deficiencies. And what are those vitamins? Vitamin D, vitamin B12. B12 also leads to a different kind of anemia, and vitamin D is responsible, like a prohormone, it takes or is responsible to help you do all your other activities of daily living. So you need both these vitamins to be in their optimum levels, and you need to check them. An ordinary blood test for B12 and vitamin D can rule out whether you have deficiencies of these two. Number three, if you are suffering from any kind of thyroid issues, whether you have hyperthyroidism, that is excess thyroid, or if you have a sluggish thyroid which causes hypothyroidism, wherein there is low thyroid levels or low levels of thyroid hormone in your blood. Both these conditions do cause exhaustion. Now let's look at it a little bit. If you have hyperthyroidism, you don't get proper sleep. You're constantly feeling hyper. Your heartbeat is constantly racing. So you feel exhausted all the time because you don't feel rested completely. Whereas when you are hypothyroid, the thyroid is sluggish, you can't do your normal work, you again feel exhausted. So both conditions do tell you that hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism do cause exhaustion. So you need to go and check your thyroid levels if you are feeling exhausted all the time. The fourth cause, and one of the most important causes, because this is your first sign that you suffer from this, is diabetes. So if you are a new diabetic, or even if you have been diabetic for some time, suffering from diabetes for some time, you do feel exhausted all the time if your sugar is in imbalance. But one of the first signs to diagnose you as diabetes is exhaustion, chronic exhaustion. This exhaustion actually leads you to go and do your blood tests. And one of the blood tests you need to do is for fasting blood sugar and HbA1c, both of which will tell you whether you are a diabetic. Then you have other causes like depression and anxiety. Again, a doctor has to check whether you suffer from either of these two, which can lead to exhaustion and chronic exhaustion there too. And you have other conditions such as sleep apnea. Now, what is sleep apnea? Sleep apnea is when you are not in a position to sleep because of your excess weight, which impedes on your lungs to take in proper breath, and therefore you don't get enough oxygen, which kind of cuts off oxygen to your basal stem, and you start feeling suffocated and you get up. So sleep apnea is a condition that most people don't know they suffer from. You need to go to an expert who does a sleep study on you to understand whether you have sleep apnea, because this always happens when you are fast asleep. Yeah. So sleep apnea is another condition that causes chronic fatigue. And then you have something that I often see in my practice all the time. And that's something known as chronic fatigue syndrome, which is normally seen in a lot of women more than men. And in this condition, people feel fatigued, they have pain which is all over the body, they don't seem to understand what it is. They sometimes suffer from fever, and most of the times when they go to a doctor, the doctor says this is all psychological, everything is fine with you. But what they fail to understand, or what they don't test for, are two very important hormones that can tell you whether you're suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome. And these two hormones are DHEA and cortisol. Both these are adrenal hormones. Both these tell you whether you have an adrenal fatigue that sets in, because adrenal fatigue also causes chronic exhaustion. You feel exhausted all the time. You don't feel like doing anything. So this is one more condition that you need to check for with your doctor. Get these tests done, and this will tell you whether you suffer from adrenal fatigue or low levels of these adrenal hormones, which are leading to your exhaustion. And of course, you can take measures to balance them. And finally, many of the medications for all these conditions that I just spoke of can also lead to exhaustion. Like if your thyroid medications are not optimal, if they are either high or low, will cause you exhaustion. If you have too much or the amount of anti-diabetic medications is too much for you, can also cause chronic exhaustion and sleepiness. And many other medications that you take, even for your sleep, for your anxiety and depression, all these medications can also lead to chronic exhaustion. So if you're on any medications, you need to go to your doctor and ask him to evaluate these medications and see if any of them are causing that chronic exhaustion that you are feeling all the time. My dear friends, nobody likes to feel exhausted all the time, because it doesn't give you to give your best self out. You always want to give your best self out. You want to do your best in everything that you do. But chronic exhaustion gets in the way, and many of us ignore this. It's time to look at it and to sort it out as early as possible so that you live a healthy life. Because if you keep postponing this, you're going to have bigger problems as you go along. My dear friends, don't ignore chronic exhaustion. Please go and evaluate why you're feeling exhausted all the time. If you like this video, please share it. Please give me that thumbs up. Please go and visit my YouTube channel, subscribe to it, because I have a lot of videos that I have put out there for you, which you can use to improve your health. And please do subscribe and like all those videos, because you get to know when my next video comes. So the next time I'm going to come out with something new for you. Till then, bye. Happy living, healthy living.